talking to one of my cousins, who's like he was showing his Xbox account and like how he basically he went through all the dozens of games that whatever the equivalent of platinum trophied of like getting 100% achievements of
Jesus.
every.
Wow.
And I was like, that's that same brain. Yeah, we're related. I can see. Good to know that we're all kind of the same person.
Wired
no
the same way to some degree. Yes.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Funny.
That's
great.
That's perfect. Hey everybody, welcome to Pursuing Pixels. My name's Kevin Portelli, and I'm here tonight with John Hines.
Hey there.
And Randall Nolery.
Hey folks.
And we are back as always to talk about some video games, trying to squeeze one in here before Randall loses some power. It seems like he's dealing with a pretty rough storm on his end, but fingers crossed that we'll be able to get through one here tonight. It feels like it's been a little while since we last got together for a recording session. I think we maybe took like a 1 extra week break, and I know I've been getting like a ton of gaming in, like nothing that I've really sunk my teeth deep into, but I'm definitely like have a ton of games that I'm queuing up like, I definitely want to talk about this on the podcast eventually. And yeah, I got a list of like 10 or 12 games, but we've all been doing quite a bit of gaming, I think, since last session. And Randall, I think you've got a little bit of an update on something you talked about a little while back.
Yeah, so the Quarry, I was talking about that before. Yes. The kind of 1980s-esque, at least as far as like horror film theme video game that's choose your own adventure, teen horror sort of thing, but kind of sort of set in modern-ish times. So, I talked a lot about it before. I've seen credits now. I won't say that I...
Nice.
In traditional choose your own adventure fashion, I don't know that I really fully succeeded, but I've come to a conclusion. There's definitely like a key element at the end, without spoiling anything right out the get-go, that I did not do effectively, and I just knew it immediately, and like, oh no. And
knew it immediately in the moment.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha. You get feedback that that you did poorly immediately in the moment.
Okay. Interesting.
Oof. Do you have like multiple like save files or like branching like now that you've beaten it, can you go back to like specific like decision points or inflection
like a chapter
points and, like, make a different decision, or do you have to start it all over from the beginning?
Best I can tell, and I didn't try to, but I think it is start from the beginning, but there is specifically a mode that they allow for that's kind of like save them from dying mode, like that you can do when they get into those circumstances where you can use a little bit of like, a built-in rewind that specific, action sequence or whatever part that got them killed, or a decision point, and go back. So, and this is a game that Tina and I played, where she was on the couch, we were handing controller back and forth, and then the end part got a little bit more like intense, and I kind of handled most of that, but we both still made all the decisions together. At the end of it, when it was like, there's this mode that we can turn on now where it says like save the people or whatever. I'm like, yeah, you know what? In enough when enough time has passed and this becomes a little bit fuzzier to us, the beat to beat, it would be kind of fun to play through that again with that mode on, to save the people, see what some of these other outcomes might have looked like. Especially, there was that one person that we had lost relatively early on, saving them, seeing what kind of branch that could have, had otherwise. That sort of stuff's cool. Mm-hmm. I still like the conceit of this. There's not a lot of games like this. It's not to say it was perfect. Like I said, there were some glitches. I don't know that I got a lot into the soundtrack, but it's a little bit of its time, in that it's got a lot of that. I'm not a big fan of the type of music, but it's that like that like clap stomp sort of music that was everywhere around like 2010 to like 2015 that sold a lot of cars and car commercials.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, nope.
There's a lot of that going on in some points. And I think they're trying to be like, it's like a campground theme. So it's kind of like, you know, but it doesn't, that part's not perfect, but it was of its time, I guess.
Yeah.
And, you know, easy enough to overlook. And it's not the entire soundtrack, but it is relatively prominent. And yeah, there were some pacing issues where some scenes went on a lot longer when you're just like, I just need to get to a save point. We just wanted to do one more thing. And like, but it's not that it's not engaging. It's just like, hey,
I totally know what you
stuff.
mean. Like,
yeah.
I remember playing like even just something like Metal Gear Solid 2 and thinking like, okay, I just want to get to like this next part and stop. And then it's like, okay, now I have this 30-minute unpausable cutscene that I have to watch. Well, I want to know what's going on. Like I am engaged, but like I was planning on when I got to that cutscene stopping, and like now I can't do anything but let this play out.
Not quite Kojima levels, I'll say that.
But it's
all that to say though, I've still had a good time with it. You know, very happy for the whatever, like less than $10. I think I grabbed it for, you know, because it's been out for a while. And make more of these. They're fun. Choose your own adventure. You know, it's you know, half hybrid of you know, a cheesy movie and a video game sort of experience, right? So I'm into it.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, I'm always going to beat that drum for like any single player game that you can play cooperatively with, you know, your partner, friend, whatever. Like I just love the idea, whether you have your hand on the controller or not, just being able to like have that active participation from multiple people. I love that. So that's one of my favorite things in games, period.
Yep.
I love it.
Yep. That cooperative local element, it can't be beat.
Yeah, it's awesome. But John, you've been a little bit cagey about what you're planning on talking about tonight. I was half tempted to check your Steam recently played, but I only check the Switch. I only see what you guys are up to on Switch.
But that's good because I did. As soon as I started playing this game, I was like, "Ooh, I want to keep this close to the vest because I don't think this game is on your radar. Though I could be wrong.
Yeah, you may have mentioned it.
I've been playing the game Forklift Load by
Not the game I thought.
Soft. Kimidori Soft's game from 2020, which is a game about a forklift with an AI in it in a post-human world. So you were built by humans, you know, as like the first AI to like make our lives better. And then you fast forward to a world where humans have long since vanished from the earth and you are an ancient AI, like kind of treated like an elder in certain respects, but all the puzzles are just physics-based puzzles where you're a forklift and you have to move a pallet of an object from one place to another.
I feel like it'd be fun to be a forklift, though.
And it's in the like ongoing theme that I've been playing of games where you are struggling against the controls. This is absolutely that, where your max speed is the max speed of a forklift, and that can't get up very sharp inclines. So there's just a lot of puzzle solving using the geometry of the level where it's like, I don't think I can get up this hill. Like, I just don't think that's possible. So how can I maneuver this forklift around? And let's like, it's a very fun conceit for a game, like just the puzzle solving of you're controlling a forklift, but then having it the extra layer of it being in like a post-human like story about, you know, what is AI and what does like being an object that was basically created for maneuvering pallets around. What does that mean when you have consciousness? Like,
what do you mean?
like,
I saw those robots dancing in those, you know, clips online. That means they're all going to be our friends forever.
But like, there is, I don't think it's like, I don't know if it's like fully textual in the game or like subtext or whatever, but like, I do feel like there is a, like just the fact that you're the oldest AI in this world, there is kind of a little bit of like, oh, well, I'm elderly. Like, I can't maneuver around this world really quickly. Like, other players or other like characters are cars, and like they are built for speed and maneuverability, and like I am a very slow moving forklift that can't do a whole lot, and like it adds something to it. Like, I haven't
just watching I was just watching the trailer and pulling up the page, and it almost looks like a little bit like, like in the vein of like Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy or like Quap. At least in the little clip I saw, I didn't watch the whole trailer, but it looked like you were like going up this scaffolding and you got to like really like go on these like tight beams where your tires are like just wide enough, and if you fall down, obviously I'm assuming you just fall to the bottom, start over from scratch.
If you drop the things on your pallet, you fail the mission, you start over. Like,
it's a pretty good looking game too, like more in the sense that it's just like realistic looking or whatever, but it looks nice. Like there were some nice settings of the forklift just like cruising through like an almost like Breath of the Wild looking like mountainscape.
Yes, and you got this like nice minimalist piano soundtrack that's going the whole time.
Nice.
Like, it's just a pleasant game.
Is it actually that? I couldn't tell if you're just making a Breath of the Wild joke.
No, it literally is. It's great. It's such like a great thing where it's like I'm like trying to do a 9-point turn in this forklift to get around like a sharp curve, and the entire time there's just this beautiful like piano soundtrack going in the background.
That's awesome.
Like it's a fascinating game. It's like $3, I think, on Steam.
Yeah, I looked it up and I saw $3, and I was totally expecting it to be like an arcadey, pixel art single screen thing, and that is obviously before you described it, but was not expecting to see what I saw.
It's got, I think, like 14 missions in it or something like that, and I've only gotten, I don't know, like 4 of them so far. Like, I've just basically gotten all the basic controls like taught to me in the first couple missions, and now it's actually puzzle, and like it almost has a bit of the like Lonely Mountains downhill aspect where you're kind of judging the different pitches of the like environment around you. Is like, I don't know, can I get this forklift up this angle? Like, how do I approach this hill? Like, driving up a hill becomes an entire puzzle in the game where it's like, all right, if I just like do a bunch of like slaloming up, trying to hit it only at the angles that I know this thing can take, and like it's kind of fun. Like, I like it in that respect, even if it
looks good. Yeah, visually, I'm impressed.
It honestly looks pretty fun. Like, it immediately was like, especially at $3, it's like, man, other than I would be a little bit worried that my computer would be able to handle it, although I can imagine it doesn't get that fast paced or anything. So
nothing else in the environment moves. It is just you. Everything else is a stationary obstacle. Like the objects that have physics are you, the other cars, the pallets, and usually the barrels that are balanced on the pallets.
Yep.
So,
and it looked like some of those barrels were like explosive or flammable or something, at least in some of the pictures.
The biggest boss I've faced so far in this game is a curb. And oh boy, that curb just made me lose so many times over and over again.
Not a lot of curbs in warehouses, so I guess that kind of checks out. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that there was like a small ramp, and I was like, I don't need to use that ramp. And then I tried going off the curb while holding the pallet, and the barrel was just like, nope.
That's so funny. Even that when you're talking about slaloming up the hills, that kind of reminded me of Breath of the Wild too. Just like, I don't have enough stamina to climb up this, but if I can like cheese this climb and like go up on these weird angles and stop at these weird points.
Absolutely that same level. Like a ton of like anytime when it would start raining when you're climbing in Breath of the Wild, and it's like, I have just enough. I swear I have just enough stamina to get up this hill.
Yeah. Oh yes. Consistent feeling in that one.
Oh man, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Fun game that I got recommended on Blue Sky.
Nice.
From Colin Space Twinks.
Oh yeah, I remember Colin Space Twinks.
That's awesome. That's funny. I really thought you were going to actually, a while back, I wrote down one of the games that you mentioned that you had booted up, Stellaris, and I was like, man, we're going to be on like a strategy kick tonight.
Let me tell you, I got knee deep into systems in Stellaris, and then I was like, I'm not smart enough right now. I need to have more brain space before I can come back to that game.
Yeah, sounds like you had my Civilization 6 experience when I popped in that cartridge. Just like, okay, this looks cool, and like I could get into it if I already knew all the rules. But the fact that I have to start from scratch right here, right now, it's not happening. But yeah, I guess to just kind of stay in the strategy light territory, I guess. Like, I don't think of these games as like hardcore strategy games, but I saw that Randall fired up one of my favorite games / series relatively recently, the Kingdom series, and I think you've been kind of bouncing around between a couple of those, and then inspired me to fire up one of those games along with another kind of tower defense strategy game as well. But we'll start off with some Kingdom here.
Tower defense is strictly what I would call it, and not enough tower defense games. I'm gonna throw that out there too.
I
Just
really
like there's not enough choose your own adventure games, not enough tower defense games.
Agreed.
You know?
Agreed. It's like tower defense and resource management. That's two things that both of these games boil down to, in my opinion. Big
time. Oh yes. Yeah. Got to make those farms and those farmers. That's name of the game in the old Kingdom.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so, I'm really curious to hear what you got to say about this.
Yeah. So I owned one of the physical Kingdom. I don't even know what it's called.
Like Majestic Collection or something.
I think that's exactly right. And for Switch. And that's got Kingdom New Lands and then Kingdom Two Crowns. But I'm not sure that it necessarily has all the DLC on it. I don't think it does. I think you still have to buy that separately, which is kind of weird. But
I would think it probably has some of it. To the best of my knowledge, maybe. Kingdom Two Crowns came with 2 DLCs. I think it was like Shogun and maybe that Deadlands, like Bloodstain crossover, but then they have released 2 separate, like,
yeah.
I think the Olympus one is a separate, like, purchasable DLC, and then same thing. There's like a like kind of Viking style one. I can't think of the name of it, but there's one of those as well that you can. That's like a separate purchasable DLC.
Norselands,
yeah, Norselands. That's the name of it.
We started on Switch because I'm like, hey, yeah, like we were saying before, like, what are the co-op games that we have here? And let's actually look at the physical games and not just mosey through the digital stuff. And for once, and I've always wanted to try it. Heard Kevin talk about it for years at this point.
Yeah,
playing with DJ and all those experiences you've had historically with this series.
Yeah.
But then, like I said before, accidentally booted up New Lands. Cool game, but only single player. And even then, it's a little chuggy on Switch. And we played 2 Crowns together, and that's a lot of fun. We got pretty hooked on it relatively quickly, I'll say. Playing co-op on just the vanilla, Kingdom 2 Crowns. Tina and I had to zoom it in a little bit on the kind of way that it splits like horizontally.
Yeah. I remember having to tweak that with DJ too. Yeah.
Yeah. But then like once your town, because it's tower defense, but it's all horizontal. And you're kind of building out horizontally, either left or right, to kind of expand your empire. Taking over all of the lands that you just found and claiming them as yours. And you just have to cut down all the trees and build up your walls and your towers that you can put your archers up into, and you're expanding, and all the while hiring more dudes to grab tools and expanding your castle and stuff like that. But on the Switch, this creates a lot of chugginess over time, especially when you get so many coins from the farmers as they're harvesting their crops, and they're creating a bunch of coins upon harvesting, and you can only carry so many coins in your bag at a given point. Each character can. So then you're like incentivized to like drop coins before you grab more coins, as to opposed of like not losing coins entirely, because if you take more than you can grab, you just lose those coins effectively.
They thought some of them fall on like the ground, or some of them like seem like they fall and like splash into like the river that's always in like the kind of foreground. Yeah, I don't know if it's a river or just the surrounding water, because you're always like on an island,
right? And then that's over like with.
Yeah.
And ultimately the mission of at least the Kingdom games I played is, there's that like crashed boat that you have to rebuild after you've kind of, gotten as much resources as you can. You're rebuilding your boat with the opportunity to go to another island. There's also gems that can unlock other special things. Not every island has gems, though, and there's these enemy kind of generators, effectively. Think like Gauntlet or those, or Diablo, or like these sort of games where there's like enemies that come out, especially at nighttime, from these generators, or if you get too
like
close
a dark
to one
portal or something.
Yep. I think they call them like greed or something to that extent.
The greed, I think, is the name of the enemies.
Yeah. But all of it's, really cool just to like hang out and play, unless you get a specific mount. You start with a horse. Your horse can't attack. You're just running back and forth. Although if you hold the button too long, your horse gets upset with you and starts breathing too hard, and it'll stop completely. And that's, there's a lot of those noises happening in playing, especially 2-player, of just pushing your horse.
Did you know that if you stop, once you're exhausted, if you stop at like a patch of grass, your horse will like duck down and like chomp on some grass and regain their stamina real quick? Okay,
yes.
Heck yeah. When I learned that, there's like so many things. That's my favorite thing about this game, which is why I was excited to hear you talk about it. Cause like I haven't had that experience with it in a long time, where it was like you start out and you're just in the first game, you don't even have the gems. It's only coins.
Oh.
And then you're basically prompted with, you don't know what anything is. There's pretty much, other than at the very start of the game, there's no text. So you're just like walking around. You got this. Yeah, you got this bag full of coins, and you're like, oh, here's this little mound on the ground, and it costs 1 coin. Okay, let me see what happens. Spend it, and it's like, oh, now I got a little wall here. Oh, I can upgrade it for 3 coins? Okay, let's see what happens. And it was so fun to have that experience of like constant, oh, this is a farm? Oh, you can get farmers with these pitchforks? Like it was so cool to see the game unfold, and I still love playing it now, but I do sometimes when I'm playing it, I'm like, I wish I could have that experience again, and like, just have it like just learning the game again. So the new DLCs, I always get excited for them, and they're cool, but they're still basically just a new skin with like another new tweak or two added to the mix. They do throw a new wrinkle here and there. Yeah. But it's not enough really to, I still love playing them and checking them out and having a new excuse to go back to the Kingdom series. But it's definitely not like, if I didn't love the game so much, it wouldn't be like, you got to play all these,
I think that's fair. We might end up touching on all of them because, like Tina's super hooked on it too. And it's become like a kind of go-to default, game, at least just to turn on and play for, 45 to an hour or whatever. Just like grind out an island or two and, move on with our lives sort of thing. But Switch got so chuggy that I ended up buying it on Xbox, like the complete set of it. So we have that, and I will say it is not. It is much smoother. On
That's interesting because I did play because 2 Crowns was on Game Pass at one point, or Gold or whatever. I had it on my Xbox. Yep. And I fired it up thinking like, man, yes, it's 2 Crowns, and I'll say it doesn't really affect the gameplay, the chugginess. You're not really doing anything actiony or anything like that. But it does mostly.
Like, I will tell you, when you get to a certain extent, and you were making as much coin as we were with the amount of farmers and people and the expansion that we had. On Switch, it got like you could count the frames. Like it was,
interesting because I've
like
never
it was
had
stopping
that.
the sound. It was like it's like it makes a sound when you place coins on things, and it normally it'd be like bop 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 bop. If you're holding the button down, it would go bop 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 bop. Like it was like.
Yeah, I guess I have had that happen a few times. For me, I mostly notice it when the days switch over, like when it. You can tell it's like loading the next day, and it really is just like, herky jerky for a minute here. Like, but let me make sure the game's still working. Yeah. But I tried it on my Xbox though, and I was like, oh, that runs pretty much exactly the same. But I have an Xbox One that I just packed up to hook up the Wii U in its place.
Fair.
But nonetheless, I just remember thinking it wasn't, But thankfully for me, like that chugging doesn't affect it too much. But if it was getting to that level, though, I mean, that does like kind of at least makes you pull the plug a little bit earlier than you may have otherwise, which might be a good thing for my case, at least in Kingdom, because that is a game that I could be like, oh, let me just play this for a minute. And then like 3 hours later, I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I still playing this? And I'm just like trying to perfect it. Like I'm always trying to like, I don't want anything to get through. I want to build this up to be the perfect fortified base that none of these greed can get through.
And especially like, you're doing as much as you can in a given day, and you're just trying to like maximize all that. And then there is a roguelike element to these games too, and like
especially the first one,
how it's kind of like built out and what you're getting in a given level, which gives me some like old school Toe Jam and Earl vibes, which is another kind of through line for Tina and I too, in that sense of exploration and the roguelike of it all. That way too. But we played Two Crowns. We were doing a great job there on Switch, but it got so chuggy, and like, I bought this on Xbox. We have these other like expansions or whatever. Like, you want to start Two Crowns again, or should we do one of these others? So we booted up Shogun.
Nice.
Kingdom Two Crowns Shogun, and it's like you said, it's kind of more a fresh coat of paint and sound effects and whatever else. But that plus the smoothness of playing it on a modern platform is a big difference. It feels very nice, and it's like you can feel like it's just running effectively, and we're just off to the races. So
nice.
Early days on Shogun, but it's been good.
Nice. I'm glad it's got the hooks in you, because I saw even on New Lands, I know you said you just started it up, but I saw you got like 5 hours in on that one. So I was like, oh man, you played a good amount of that. And that's the one that I ended up booting up to just kind of refresh my memory, because I was actually reading up on the series. Apparently, like, the original developer only worked on that game, or that was the last game they worked on. It was released originally as like a free game. Like the developer was just learning how to animate, and they started out like, I just want to animate a horse.
Wow.
And then just like it all like spawned out from that apparently. And then it was like I don't know if it was a game jam game or something, but something they made for free. And then they blew it out into like a slightly bigger game. And then like Raw Fury, when they were going to publish like the Kingdom New Lands, like, hey, you got to take down that free version. But eventually they like talked it back into, hey, no, let's put it back up. Nice. I don't know if that's exactly how it went, but something to that effect, where it went down for a while, went back up. So there is actually apparently on Steam, there's like Kingdom Classic, which is just like a free version of Kingdom.
Wow.
That you can play, that has like a lot of the, a lot less of the mechanics.
I'd be very
but
curious.
I'm actually kind of curious to play that. Yeah. Because I actually, going back to New Lands, there's no gems in that game, so there's only coins. That is like literally your only currency and resource in that game. And then I also thought that it just played a little smoother. The graphics are just a little bit nicer. Like they look great in all the games, but like I was actually surprised by I hadn't played New Lands in a while, and I was like, man, this game looks amazing.
Oh, it does. It looks great. Yeah.
I was just shocked. Yeah. And I just love the music, just everything about that game. I can't tell you how many times DJ and I would be playing that game together co-op and just be to look over at each other when like a certain part of the score would come in and just be like, God, this game is amazing.
It is.
Or the sunset would just be like, especially when you play some of those like the Norse lands or some of the other ones, like the sun will be like setting and it'll be like all like green and like
it's very pretty.
They're just an amazing game to just get lost in that just
like
visual
pixel
soundscape and stuff.
Yeah. Pixel art and the soundscape, it's all done very well, and that carries through to not just the regular Two Crowns, but Shogun as well. In our experience, it's been a great experience that way, and relatively serene, despite the fact that you're being attacked by monsters pretty regularly.
That's what I like. It's such a relaxing game.
Yeah,
it really is.
It is.
Yeah. And I guess
I'm super into it, and the whole like roguelike, elements of it. And like, I didn't complete my thought on the mounts, but some of the other mounts that aren't horses, like we've got like bears and like these fire breathing lizards and whatever else can like do a bit of attacking on their own to the enemies. And you can help defend your walls that way a little bit more effectively. And there's a lot of little elements, but we'll be playing this for a while, so there's always going to be more to say.
Heck yeah. I'm excited to hear more, and excited to like have that little extra kick to like it. Just, how like when somebody else is playing a game that you like, or a game that you're into, like it just gives you a little more nudge. Like when DJ Glenn and I were playing Enter the Gungeon nonstop, it was so fun to like share, hey, did you find out about the secret rat level, or did you find out about this character, this unlock, or have you seen this gun yet? Like back to that roguelike thing, have you seen this yet? Or like it's so cool.
I love it.
And then, it's funny. I just actually picked up the game that I mentioned a little bit earlier. I think I mentioned it at least. PixelJunk Monsters Ultimate. And I like kind of had like a passing thought while I was playing this game after you brought up Kingdom. And I don't think I had even booted it up yet, but I just bought it. And I was like, that game kind of has a similar flow to Kingdom. It's tower defense. It's even got like a similar kind of mood to like the music. It's a little more frantic in the gameplay, like in terms of like you're running around. Like at least I've played through the first like And even you're hopping from island to island and the way like the worlds are split apart. There's just like a lot of like weird, you're collecting coins and then gems are like the two types of currency in the game. There's very little text other than like your towers have actual names. Like there is actual text, you know, that shows you, you know, how many coins they cost. And like, it's not like so bare bones, I guess. And it's not roguelike. It's like scripted actual levels. But man, I played so much of this game on my PlayStation 3 back in the day in college. I think I just remember playing this in my dorm room a lot, and just getting really sucked into all the PixelJunk games, or at least most of them in that first wave. The only one I never played a ton of was Racers, which I think might have even been the first game of the PixelJunk games. But nonetheless, most of the other ones were like a little more. That one was kind of like a 3D, like isometric racing game, I guess, like on like a rally track kind of thing. Like almost like RC cars, where like all the other games had like more of like a 2D, like not hand drawn, but just like some kind of artistic style to them. Yeah. And this Monsters Ultimate version adds some kind of HD-ification to everything, kind of similar to what they did with PixelJunk Shooter Ultimate. I don't know exactly what they've changed visually, but it definitely looks like a little more 3D, or I don't know. They just did something to kind of soup up the graphics a little bit. And I believe they added all like the extra DLC. I think there was like some extra islands that were added down the road, but I just cleared the first chunk of stages, which are all labeled as easy. And then to like beat the level fully, you basically have to protect like your house that has 20 like villagers or whatever living in it. And anytime an enemy makes it all the way to the village, they like kill or capture or whatever one of your villagers. So ideally you want to end the stage without letting any of the enemies reach that point. And if you do, you not only beat the stage, but you get like a little rainbow collectible that is what like unlocks different paths. Like, okay, you got to get at least 3 rainbows to unlock, this section, or 4 rainbows to unlock this new island or whatever. And I am realizing that like I get so obsessive about this game, almost like the opposite, because the scope of Kingdom, like once you get a run going, by the time you make a mistake, you're almost like, I want to start over, but I'm far enough along that I'm just going to roll with the punches.
Oh, yeah.
Where like this game is like, as soon as one enemy gets back to my base, I'm like, nope, start over. I got to get that fucking rainbow. Like, I don't do that immediately because you got to kind of learn the level a little bit. But like, because some of the paths, like like the first couple levels, you're like, okay, here's the exact path. You can clearly see it. The enemies are just going to go this way. But after a while, like the level I just did, it was 20 waves back to back to back of all the same enemy type. But they're just like meandering around this like seemingly unpathed forest. Like, so you got to kind of like guess where the best places to place like your cannons or your arrows or your, anti-air. Those are the only 3 towers I have so far. But like I just cleared, like I said, this first like chunk of levels, and I unlocked the ability to like run faster. And I was like, man, I played so much of this game on PS3. And I think I just got so obsessive about like perfecting these levels that I never even got to this. This was only the 6th stage in the game. But apparently, I never even made it that far when I played it back in the day. And I played a lot of this game. But I think it is just something about it's got that great aesthetic. The music is just so chill and relaxing. The music is incredible. Even the sound effects, just like when you hit circle to like cancel out of something. I guess I'm just saying circle because I'm picturing it being a PS3 game. But like when you hit the cancel button, like just the little beep sound effect it makes, just everything about this game is collecting coins, gems, and then the coins are what you use to just buy towers or whatever. The gems you can use to speed up the upgrade process. Otherwise, they kind of auto level up over time by doing damage to enemies, or you can even stand at the tower and just dance, and your little tiki guy will do a dance and just level it up a little bit quicker. But man, I'm just hooked on this game all over again. I don't know if I'm going to like beat every last thing in the game or get a rainbow on every stage because it's getting really, really tough.
Oh yeah.
But man, I just, it's such a good feeling when you have fond memories about a game and you like pick it up again and it feels just as good as you remember it. And that's exactly the experience I had with this one. And it was on sale for like $1.50 or something on Steam. So I was just like, you know what? My PS3 doesn't really work anymore. I really want to own this game. They have ported some of the other PixelJunk games to like Switch and other platforms, but some of them just haven't made the jump. And for whatever reason, this one's one of them. And it's one of my favorites in the series without question.
Nice.
Just awesome stuff.
Nice to own a neutral platform like PC, I think.
I know.
That's cool.
Truly. Although, yeah, I got to say, Xbox has been great about that pretty much since 360 to now. You know, they've carried that over across the board.
Yep.
Which you can't say that about any other console platform. That's for sure.
No.
But yeah, I think we've probably done more than enough video game rambling here tonight. Thankfully, toughed it out through the storm here. I don't know if the weather's gotten any more gnarly over there, Randall.
No power outage or anything. I think we're through the worst of it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, as always, you can find us on the internet at pursuingpixels.com and pretty much everywhere else on the internet, or most other places anyways. And yeah, just look us up. And otherwise, until next week, we'll catch you then, and take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Gotta bust that Wii U back out.
Absolutely.
I've been loving it. Even play. I'm 5 levels into Star Fox, man. I'll just talk about that for a quick second right now. I'm loving that game too. The presentation is amazing. It is like jank beyond belief.
Yeah,
but
I got motion sick, trying to switch between cockpit view and whatever the other like the handheld view.
And then they have the target mode, which is kind of this more cinematic mode where you're but you have to use it sometimes.
Is it called the ostrich mode for the R-Wing, or what is the bird mode?
I think they just call it target mode, but I don't know. Okay. Maybe I just missed the But they're just throwing a little too much at you. Like the drone ship kind of controls weird. It's I just want to play the regular game. I don't even care if it's tanks. I don't want to play these fucking drones and do these levels.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I want to just keep moving along.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that was the big disappointment for me, was just I just wanted another Star Fox.
Yeah, they're breaking up the action too much. I don't even mind. I could deal with if the whole game was just Star Fox 64 style levels.
This is literally what we've been saying since that point.
Yes, that's all they need to do.
But even if they
since 1998 or
whatever, whatever.
97.
But even if it still had the weird cockpit controls and whatever, I could live with it. You can kind of work around it. But then when you start having to do for the drone and a few of the other things, when you're in the ship mode, you can have it set to this mode where you always have to kind of use the motion controls, but you can have it set to where they only are activated when you're shooting. So when you're
gonna make me
shooting,
play Star Fox Assault again.
Some people like that game. I used to play that game multiplayer a lot with my brother.
It is so
I've only ever played the multiplayer and maybe
it's
a little bit of the
multiplayer.
Opening.
I honestly,
we played a lot of that.
I liked the first person shooter sections of that game.
Yeah, the run and gun over the shoulder kind of thing. Yeah.
Also, it's looking spooky at Randall's, so we should start recording.
Yeah,
It got so dark.
It did.